Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the entrance of the Minister of Public Works and Public Housing of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Dr. M. Basuki Hadimuljono, Master of Science. And the Ambassador of Japan to the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Mr. Kenji Kanasugi. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure for us to welcome you to this event, the Symposium on Next Generation Leaders Connecting Indonesia Japan. This symposium is held by Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA Indonesia Office, in cooperation with the Embassy of Japan and supported by JETRO Indonesia Office and the Japan-Indonesia Association. This seminar is held on the occasion of the 65th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Japan and Indonesia. Among us now are the future leaders of the bilateral relationship, and in this seminar we aim to exchange views on the future cooperation between the two countries and their expectations of JICA. It aims to contribute to the future development of people-to-people networks and cooperation between both countries. First of all, I'd like to welcome our esteemed guest today, the Ambassador of Japan to the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Mr. Kenji Kanasugi.
Good morning, selamat pagi. His Excellency Dr. Muhammad Basuki Hadimuljono, Minister of Public Works and Housing. By the way, congratulations on your receiving the Order of the Rising Sun Gold and Silver Star this year. Dr. Emil Elestianto Dardak, Vice Governor of East Java Province. Again, congratulations on your receiving Foreign Minister's commendation. Mr. Charles Honoris, Vice Chair of Commission 11, House of Representatives. Thank you very much for coming. Professor Anwar Sanusi, SG of Ministry of Manpower. Thank you. Dr. Dadang Sudiana, SG of Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, who is joining later. Dr. Honna Jun, Professor of Ritsumeikan University. Dr. Aizawa Nobuhiro, Associate Professor of Kyushu University. Mr. Takahashi Masakazu, President Director of JETRO Jakarta Office. Mr. Yasui Takehiro, Chief Representative of JICA Indonesia Office. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, friends and colleagues, thank you very much for your coming here. Also, thank you for inviting me today to the Next Generation Leaders Seminar Connecting Indonesia and Japan. As was introduced, this year, 2023, is the 65th anniversary of diplomatic relationship between Japan and Indonesia, as well as the 50th anniversary of ASEAN-Japan Friendship and Cooperation under Indonesia's chair. Also, in June, Their Majesty, the Emperor and Empress of Japan visited this country as their first state visit since His Majesty's enthronement 5 years ago. So in such a monumental year, it is very meaningful and important for the next generations to have candid discussions on various bilateral cooperation and its future, which is the basis of friendly relations between our two countries. Japan and Indonesia have a long history of cooperation in various fields, such as infrastructure, manufacturing, energy, agriculture, health, education, human resource development, amongst others. One of the most symbolic examples of Japan-Indonesia cooperation is the MRT Jakarta, Indonesia's first subway system, which started to operate in 2019. Since then, it has become an indispensable public transportation method for daily life of people in Jakarta. And thanks to the diligent daily work of the Indonesian staff and engineers, the stations are kept clean, trains always arrive on time, and the whole facilities are well maintained. And in addition, the MRT Jakarta now provides Vietnam with technical guidance on their MRT maintenance and operation. Considering the fact that the current generation nurtures the next, I think the MRT is one of the ideal forms of cooperation that goes beyond one-time assistance. Furthermore, in response to the increasingly severe regional and global geopolitical environment, cooperation in the maritime security and political field is now ongoing. Both countries have been working closely together to uphold the international order based on the rule of law, which is the common vision of the free and open Indo-Pacific that Japan has been promoting, and the ASEAN outlook on the Indo-Pacific, in which Indonesia took a great leadership. Japan and Indonesia also launched many cooperative initiatives to address global challenges, such as green transformation, energy transition, and digital transformation. I believe that cooperation between the next generations of Japanese and Indonesian, including in these new areas, and the creation of new social values through such cooperation will be the driving force of future relations between our two countries. People-to-people and cultural exchanges are indispensable again to consolidate our bilateral cooperation, and I'm glad to see that these exchanges are reactivated after the COVID-19 pandemic subsided. Manga, anime, and Japanese cuisine such as sushi are already familiar to many of you. This weekend, the Jakarta Japan Festival, what we call JJM, will be held at the JI Expo for the 2 days. I hope you will join us in the JJM. Before closing, I would like to draw your attention to Prime Minister Kishida's diplomatic policy speech in Manila early this month on the theme of heart-to-heart ties for the next generation. In the speech, he re-emphasized the importance to strengthen the relationship between Japan and ASEAN, and by so doing, to realize a world where human dignity is upheld. I'm confident that the participants of this event, who will lead the next generations, not only share knowledge, but also develop heart-to-heart ties through vigorous discussions. I'd like to conclude my remarks by expressing my hope for the future. Japan values harmony, and Indonesia values gotong royong. Although the expressions are different, we share common values. I sincerely hope that the relationship of our two countries sharing common values will be elevated even onto a higher plane in the future by the leaders of the next generations like all of you. Thank you very much for your attention and have a good day. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Thank you for the opening speech from the Ambassador of Japan to the Republic of Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, next we will listen to the opening speech by the Minister of Public Works and Public Housing of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Dr. M. Basuki Hadimuljono, Master of Science.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. His Excellency Mr. Kenji, Ambassador of Japan to Indonesia, Mr. Yasuhito Takehiro, the Chief Representative of JICA Office in Jakarta, Mr. Charles Honoris, the Chairman of Commission 11, House of Representatives, Professor, my big boss, Pak Emil, the Vice Governor of East Java, rekan-rekan sekalian, generasi muda Indonesia yang akan meneruskan kerjasama kita dengan Jepang yang sangat saya cintai dan banggakan. First of all, it is really my honor to be here this morning in front of you in the Symposium of the Next Generation Leaders Seminar Connecting Indonesia and Japan. Since 1958, Japan has been the strategic partner of Indonesia, providing over $50 billion in official development assistance, ODA, in total, and especially within the Ministry of Public Works. So I'm speaking on behalf of the Ministry of Public Works. We are now managing ODA projects up to $2 billion in all sectors in public works and housing, from road and bridges, dams, irrigation, flood control, and others. Around 2,000 Japanese companies are operating in Indonesia. This is outside of the Ministry of Public Works, but all over Indonesia, giving jobs to about 7.2 million people. This contributes significantly to around 8.5% of Indonesia GDP and accounts for nearly 25% of total exports, so real big number. To reflect on the achievement of our diplomatic relations, our collaboration began with the construction of the Karangtates multipurpose dam in 1968, followed by the initiation of the first Komering irrigation development in 1982 in South Sumatra. Okay. For the Karangtates multipurpose dam construction, it is real historic milestone of the relation between Japan and Indonesia. And even based on that project, we in Ministry of Public Work has the, what we call it, the spirit of Brantas, okay? Because at that time, we built the dam not by contractual basis, but using the, what we call it in Indonesia, swaklola. Okay? Based on that project, it developed three things. First, the project Brantas itself. Until now, we have a Balai Besar Brantas, and then Brantas Abipraya, the state-owned company contractors, who also have the discipline, focus on the water sector, infrastructure contractor, and also the consulting services in Drakarya. And this is the only state-owned company born by the Indonesian government. In addition, the comprehensive development of Brantas River Basin from 1961 to 2002 a significant role in reducing flood disaster in the downstream area of Surabaya. So the Brantas River Basin Development Program at that time with the objective for flood reduction, flood management. It's different with, for example, the Jeratun Seluna River Basin Development. It is for irrigation. Okay? It is becoming a baby of the JICA or Japanese ODA. Furthermore, we have collaborated to mitigate volcanic disaster through SABO cooperation, which is more than technical cooperation. This is an evidence how strong the Japan and Indonesia relationships is. There have been more than 350 SABO experts from Japan to Indonesia since 1970 to support us. Through this cooperation, we have sent even more than 100 Indonesian engineers to learn SABO technology in Japan, and there are at least 277 SABO dams developed. So, Ibu Bapak sekalian, SABO engineering, number one in the world is Japan, and number two is Indonesia. Okay? That's why I don't have that. I still ask Pak Indra to see the SABO. This is a laboratory SABO which is visited by the emperor. Okay? In this location in Jogja, we develop with the supported by JICA SABO Technical Training Center. It is not only for Indonesian engineer, but also for South-South cooperation, okay, program. And I just discussed with JICA and also with the MLITT, Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Land, Transport and Tourism, to rejuvenate this SABO Technical Center next year. And hopefully they are going to support again to train not only Indonesian engineer but also South-South program through the spirit of Bandung spirit in World Water Forum 224 next year. So during the World Water Forum next year, we are going to have a Bandung Spirit Summit in order to have water justice, to train also South-South countries. His Majesty, the Emperor of Japan, visited our technical implementation unit for SABO dams in Yogyakarta on 21st of June 2023. His Majesty appreciated how SABO technology has developed since the technology and knowledge shared with Indonesia. So SABO dam, for those who are studying in Japan, SABO mean what? SABO mean pasir, right? Dam, so ini bendungan pasir untuk menahan lahar, deposit lahar dari letusan gunung berapi. First, we developed SABO dam in Merapi Mountain in Yogyakarta, but now it is spread out of Indonesia, Sumeru, and then Sinabung, Bawakareng in Sulsel, and others mountains. During early 2000s, when Indonesia faced a series of large-scale disasters, Japan actively contributed by providing emergency assistance, supporting recovery efforts, and participating in reconstruction projects through the approach of Build Back Better, which not only helps physically rebuilding the affected area and reduces vulnerability to future disaster, but also builds community resilience. In the realm of disaster management, Japan played a vital role in enhancing the quality of our country's mitigation programs by formulating disaster mitigation plans and implementing risk indices. As we all know, Climate changes also has a huge impact on the whole world. We must work together to solve the problem of climate change by increasing resilience to natural disaster and low carbon development. In more recent years, our collaboration has extended to scientific and technology cooperation program involving universities and research agencies. This initiative aims to enhance our observation system, especially for tsunamis and volcanoes. We work together with BMKG, Public Works, and also JICA and ICAM to do this research. Furthermore, Japan to JICA also contributed through technical cooperation in some sectors such as water resources, road and bridges, building, sanitation, waste management. Some of the projects include flood control master plan, reconstruction of Palu Bridge, and solid waste management in Gerbang, Kertosusila. Also, to achieve the vision of Nusantara Capital City as a global city for all, we have been granted the assistance in comprehensive quality assurance assessment from Japan, whom we know agreed in detail, accuracy, and reliability. So during the construction period, the Ministry of Public Works and Housing has been supported by JICA with providing us the expert in to assure the quality of the construction in capital Nusantara. Hopefully, we can also more explore on the collaboration for sustainable road development, infrastructure maintenance, and asset management in both regional and national level. Ladies and gentlemen, achieving such lofty goals requires strategic partnership, and we see Japan, by extension JICA, as an invaluable allies in this journey. On this day, following our commitment to progress and develop, I sincerely hope that we can continue to enhance our relationship through further opportunities for collaboration. I hope through this symposium, we will have a concrete and innovative initiative that can propel Indonesia toward a future that are sovereign, advanced, just, prosperous. Ibu Bapak sekalian, Pak Kenji, Pak Takehiro, let me say to my friends, who is the generasi muda Indonesia, who will be the next generation for connecting Indonesia Japan. Ini pengalaman saya bekerja dengan Jepang. Saya alumni dari Amerika. Saya tidak pernah sekolah di Jepang, kecuali Pak Profesor. Kuliah ini S2, S3 di Jepang, dan Pak Emil. Saya ada alumni Permias. Tapi begitu saya pulang dari dari Amerika, tahun 93, saya bekerja sama di PU dengan konsultan Jepang. They are crazy. Okay? They work like a dog. Okay? Saya terbawa dengan itu. Itu sangat mempengaruhi, mungkin juga sedikit banyak mempengaruhi karakter saya untuk bekerja. Okay? Positively. Okay? Jadi kami membuat satu master plan untuk pembangunan irigasi pada tahun 93 bersama Nippon Kui. Itu 3 profesor dari Jepang ditempatkan di PU, saya sebagai counterpartnya. Mereka sampai bekerja sampai satunya lumpuh, tapi bisa lagi karena dia ada ortopedik bisa hidup lagi. Jadi itu satu, ya. Jadi working serius, detail, dan bekerja keras. Itu Jepang. Yang kedua, komitmennya ke Jepang. Begitu mereka komitmen, kita tidurnya bekerja dengan sesuai dengan komitmennya. Okay? Itu adalah Jepang. Yang ketiga, menurut saya, Jepang tidak ingin atau hampir selalu, ini off the record ya pengalaman ini. Ini hanya untuk di sini saja. Kalau mau disitir yang tadi, okay? Yang ini hanya pengalaman untuk para generasi muda. Jepang ini tidak suka bilang no. Ya. Sehingga kita harus membantu mereka untuk bisa bilang yes. Oke. Ini hubungan diplomatiknya. Untuk itu saya selalu melakukan nemawasi. Ya. Walaupun saya tidak pernah sekolah, saya pelajari itu. Ada yang tahu nemawasi? Itu komunikasi. Jadi kalau kita punya problem, misalnya saya dengan JICA, saya tidak langsung menulis surat, tapi personally saya akan hubungi. Look, kita punya problem ini. Gimana caranya? Kita akan lakukan solusinya. Oke, kalau sudah ketemu solusinya, oke, saya kirim surat besok, 2 hari kamu jawab. Dan itu kita lakukan. Itulah hubungan antara Indonesia dan Jepang, khususnya di Kementerian PUPR. Saya tidak pernah hiding the problem, but I open the problem to solve together. Dengan melalui nemawasi. Jadi apapun yang kita minta selalu bilang iya. Bukan berarti mereka selalu mengiyakan, tapi kita selesaikan dulu secara nemawasi. Ini pengalaman saya untuk kita hubungan diplomatik antara Indonesia dan Jepang. Okay. Yang keempat, mereka mungkin lebih Qurani daripada kita. Okay. Anda kalau Ramadan pergi ke Jepang, rapatnya ditunda jadi setelah buka puasa. Ini respectfulnya mereka terhadap kita semua, mungkin religious. Jadi mereka mengerti pada bulan-bulan Ramadan kalau ada acara official pasti disesuaikan dengan kondisinya. Saya kira itu, ini karena kan connecting Indonesia Japan for the next generation, for the generasi Z. Nanti mungkin Pak Emil, Pak Profesor juga ada pengalaman, tapi itu beberapa pengalaman saya untuk berdiplomasi dengan Jepang. Saya kira itu yang bisa saya sampaikan, kurang lebihnya saya mohon maaf. Selamat, terima kasih pada Jepang, pada JICA yang kita bersama-sama memperingati hubungan diplomatik yang ke-65. Mudah-mudahan hubungan ini terus bisa kita tingkatkan untuk kemajuan kedua negara. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for the opening speech from the Minister of Public Works and Public Housing of the Republic of Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd also like to extend our warm welcome to our moderators and panelists for our panel discussions today. Associate Professor Nobuhiro Aizawa from Kyushu University, Professor Jun Honna, Ritsumeikan University. Mr. Charles Honoris, Vice Chairman of 9 Commission of the House of Representatives of the Republic of Indonesia. Dr. Emil Elestianto Dardak, the Vice Governor of East Java. Dr. Dadan Kusdiana, Secretary General of Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. Professor Anwar Sanusi, MPA PhD, Secretary General of Ministry of Manpower. Ms. Lintang Paramitasari Wibawa, PhD, the Director for Junior Diplomat Training, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Dr. Irfan Saleh, Director of Water Resources, Bappenas. Dr. Prani Sastiono, Senior Researcher and Assistant Professor, Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Indonesia. And Mr. Ikeda Sho, Partner, Indonesia Representative, Office Global Brain. And of course, all of our symposium participants, once more, welcome to the Symposium on Next Generation Leaders Connecting Indonesia, Japan. I am Chisanti Arumsari, will be your host today. Ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is the photo session. We kindly invite our esteemed guests to take photos together on the stage, and I will invite the back row first. First of all, we kindly invite Dr. Prani Sastiono. Please come to the stage. Dr. Irfan Saleh. Mr. Tanaka. His Excellency Kenji Kanasugi. His Excellency Dr. M. Basuki Hadimuljono. Mr. Charles Honoris. Mr. Takehiro Yasui. And Mr. Masakazu Takahashi.
Ini rekan-rekan sekalian, ini sistem. Ya, ini hal kecil tapi coba kalau kita di simposium mana begitu mau potret kan berkutukan gitu. Saya sangat tertarik yang begini. Jadi apapun sistemnya kita ikut. Diatur oleh sistem. Jadi ini Jepang. Oke. Mungkin nggak ada ini karena saya ini yang terkesan buat saya. Kita tadi duduknya berdirinya salah aja, kamu kesini. Nah. Ikut. Jadi sistem memang harus. Karena dengan sistem siapapun akan ikutin itu. Oke? Jadi mudah-mudahan ini jadi contoh buat kita juga. Terima kasih.
Thank you very much for all of our esteemed guests. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start the final discussions, let us listen to an introduction from Mr. Takehiro Yasui, the Chief Representative of JICA Indonesia Office.
Thank you very much for all of you coming to join us today. I think the session, discussion session is already ready and about to start. But before that, please allow me to give some brief comments or some overviews about background, purpose, and contents of this seminar. Okay, the starting point of this seminar was that, as everybody say, this year is quite important for bilateral relationship between Japan, Indonesia and Japan, and this year marks 65th anniversary. So we wondered, we feel like holding something like event to celebrate it. This is the starting point. And that actually, these 65 years are a very long period so far. There are some several prominent figures like Bapak Ginanja or Mr. Fukuda, former Prime Minister of Japan, and Mr. Shiraishi. He's also a significant professor in GRIPS, have been leading the relation between Japan and Indonesia. And also today, I think Mr. Gobe is also playing a very important role on the Indonesian side. And Bapak Menteri Basuki has been a great supporter to Japan. We are really appreciate it. And then I have said such that I also need to say that those distinguished figures are already over 60 years old, a bit senior. So looking ahead, next 65 years, we also wondered it would be great if we could hold some seminar and bring together the young leaders of young generation, next generation leaders who will work for the bilateral relationship for next 65 years. So today, I think the prominent the participants invited, and then those are all 40s, in their 40s or 50s, still young, yes. And as a panel chair, we are inviting two prominent, distinguished professors from Japan, Dr. Aizawa and Dr. Honna, who are leading professor in the area of Southeast Asian region and Indonesian study. And from the Indonesian side, the distinguished members from parliament, business, academia, and public administration invited. And so today, we think that this is a great moment for discussing about the first session. First panel is about the relationship between Japan and Indonesia, chaired by Dr. Aizawa. And then second session will be the role of JICA, expected to next 65 years on the future, chaired by Dr. Honna. Yes, I'm very excited to see what participants, panelists, new leaders are thinking about them and talking about today. And also, before I concluding, I would like to mention the other one. I have some ambitious. I would like to expand base of leaders for new generation. I don't know whether this, because this is a kind of a trial by our side, by JICA. So if this seminar is concluded successfully, I would like to do again, twice or three times in near future. Okay, thank you very much. I will stop here, and I think let's get started. Thank you very much. ありがとうございました。
Thank you for the introduction from the Chief Representative of JICA Indonesia Office. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to our main agenda, and I would like to invite the moderator and panelists to come to the stage. Associate Professor Nobuhiro Aizawa, Kyushu University, as the moderator. And I would like to invite our panelists. The first one is Charles Honoris, Vice Chairman of Ninth Commission of the House of Representatives of the Republic of Indonesia. The next one is Dr. Emil Elestianto Dardak, the Vice Governor of East Java. The next one is Dr. Dadan Kustiana, Secretary General of Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. And Professor Anwar Sanusi, MPA, PhD, Secretary General of Ministry of Manpower. For the moderator and panelists, please all be seated. Before we start, let me introduce our moderator in this session. Nobuhiro Aizawa is an associate professor in Kyushu University's Department of Cultural Studies. He specializes in Southeast Asian politics, international relations, overseas Chinese studies, and comparative politics. He teaches in the international program of the Graduate School of Integrated Sciences for Global Society, offering introductory courses on comprehensive East Asian and Japanese studies and a seminar on overseas Chinese and transnational Asia. He graduated from Kyoto University. He is a former research associate of the Institution of Development Economies, JETRO, National Graduate Institute of Policy Studies in Tokyo. Without further ado, please welcome Associate Professor Nobuhiro Aizawa to take the lead for this session.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction, and thank you very much for everyone to attend this wonderful seminar. My name is Aizawa Nobuhiro. In short, I'm a student of Indonesian history, so I think that will explain everything. First of all, I really want to welcome our distinguished guests on our panel. We will ask everyone to introduce one by one, but first, let me thank our distinguished guests, especially Menteri Basuki. Thank you for your compliments of crazy Japanese, but I want to give it back. I think, as a student of Indonesian history, I think Indonesians are crazy too. In what way? I think, as Basuki said, your words, one speech makes us feel very, friendly. You create community. I think the power of Indonesia, the wisdom of Indonesians creating community building is second to none. I think it's the world-leading, the genius that we all fell in love with, especially in this world of divided world. I think that wisdom really is precious. And with the theme today, creating the new generation community between Indonesia and Japan, I think there is no better friend for us Japanese to count on is our Indonesian friends. I think Basuki, you already showed that geniusness with us. So thank you so much for your wonderful speech too. Yeah. And because of that, I think the agenda here is what kind of community we want to build, or what kind of society we want to build in the future. I think that's exactly why we are here. Not just diplomatic relationship, but it's more of a community building, society building. That's where the Prime Minister Kishida's speech about co-creation is a little different from cooperation. We want to create a new society, a new community. So that's why we are here to ask our geniuses here, and we want to tap into the brain power. How and in what way we can, achieve that, the future. So first of all, we want to have our first words from our panelists and to have a short introduction. And from there, we want to discuss the more concrete themes of what kind of future we want to build. So start from Charles.
Thank you very much, Professor Aizawa. First of all, I would like to mention our honored in our presence, Excellency Kenji Kanasugi, Ambassador of Japan to the Republic of Indonesia, Excellency Dr. Basuki Hadimuljono, our eccentric Minister of Public Works, very popular person, Mr. Takehiro Yasui, Chief Representative of JICA Indonesia, and of course our respected fellow panelists, Dr. Emil Dardak, Pak Anwar, and Pak Dadan. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Charles Honoris. I am currently the Vice Chair of Commission 9 of the House of Representatives of Indonesia, overseeing healthcare and manpower. I am very happy to be here. I'm very happy to be invited to this event. I am not a stranger to Japan. Japan is not a strange country for me also. I have lived and studied in Japan for many, many years. Maybe about 20 years ago, I studied at International Christian University in Tokyo, Japan. I still do visit quite often. I was there 2 months ago during a visit with our Speaker of the House. We attended the commemoration of the Indonesia-Japan 65 years relations, and we also had a productive meeting with the Prime Minister Kishida during our visit. So I'm happy to be here, happy to share for the discussion in order to strengthen our relationship, in order to strengthen further cooperation between Indonesia and Japan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Emil.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning, Excellency Ambassador, Excellency Minister, Chief Representative of JICA, JETRO, and all distinguished guests and panelists. Very quickly also, I had the opportunity to study in Japan, specifically at Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University. It's a relatively new university established at the dawn of the new millennium in the early 21st century. But what attracted me to study there was the bilingual system. We can study in Japan while still not fully being proficient in the Japanese language. But along the way, definitely we picked up a significant amount of Japanese to survive in the street, at least. But I wish I could have learned more what happened was Beppu, the very peaceful town in the Oita prefecture, instead of us adapting to the town adapted to the international students. So if you go to the Kombini, you'll find that the part-time workers are foreign students, and even the Japanese, they can speak. Or even, there was a flower stall in a graduation I wanted to buy, already have a cue card in English saying, what do you want to buy? But luckily, because like the Excellency Minister, we both like music. One of my favorite pastime is to go to the Japanese karaoke, and at least I can start practicing my hiragana and furigana reading through the songs. But this is a great opportunity. I think listening to the speech from His Excellency the Minister, it shows that the friendship between Indonesia and Japan is strengthened by many ways, including alumni who went to Japan and studied, including the work. There are ways of being an alumni of Japan either by physically going to Japan or actually by having this important collaboration. And what makes me even proud is Brantas is located in East Java. And because our minister here is also someone we consider an alumni of East Java as well. He studied his high school in East Java. So we are a sister province with Osaka. It has been established since 1984, so more than 30 years already. And and of course, we also work and form relationship with other parts of Japan, also with many institutions, including with JICA. We are looking at a potential plan for mass rapid transit. And I look forward to be discussing more about our future together between Indonesia and Japan. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pak Dardak.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi. Minasang ohayou gozaimasu. Pak Menteri yang kami hormati, Pak Dubes and all others, speakers, guests, thank you for having me here for the invitation. I joined the Ministry of Energy in 1993. And Japan was my first country to be visited, invited by JICA in 1994. Thank you for that, the first invitation. So I always remember JICA since the beginning of joining the ministry. And then I had also the opportunity to study in Japan, in Kyoto University in 1998. So by the time of the Kyoto Protocol, so I joined the Kyoto, graduated by 2004. I have my colleagues also here, Dr. Wahyu. I learned the environment and energy. In particular, I did very specific JICA at the time, ya, biodiesel, Pak Menteri. So saya penelitiannya about biodiesel. I brought palm oil from Indonesia and did the research there, and then successfully Indonesia has put the biodiesel since 2006. I graduated in 2004. So we have 2 or 3 years in preparation here and bring this initiative into the implementation. And now Indonesia is leading. Indonesia is not the only one country that use 35% of biodiesel, put it into the diesel fuel. I will discuss later on sharing the issues that I think both countries also facing currently in terms of the energy transition. Indonesia and Japan, I think, currently use mostly in majority is fossil fuel. And we have many cooperation on that part to see how then both countries also can pass and can successfully do the energy transition. You and us, I think, use coal and gas. Gas is probably will be okay at the time, but coal, we need to see how then the technology and also the development of the process can reduce the emission. We have the commitment of net zero emission in 2060 or earlier. Japan even much more earlier in 2050, and Indonesia is also committed to NDC of the reduction 2030. We have many common challenges, and there are a lot of initiative cooperation. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Anwar.
Yes, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning, minasang ohayou gozaimasu. Yang mulia Bapak Menteri Basuki Hadimuljono, my Dai Senpai and my Guru. We are the same university, ya, Kakama members. And then also His Excellency Mr. Kenji Kanasugi, Ambassador of Japan to the Republic of Indonesia. And then Chief Representative of JICA Indonesia Office, Mr. Yasuo Takehiro, and then also all my fellow speakers, yeah, and then also moderators, and then ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to say on the maybe beginnings, I joined to be a government employee on 1994 in National Institute of Public Administration. So why I started to fall in love with Japan? I just started on 1996. I got scholarship from Mambuso on those time, the names. Actually, I got 3 scholarship. One is scholarship from France, and then second is from Australia, and the last is from Mambuso. So when I have to decide it, which is maybe that I have to choose, Of course, maybe I will ask to my parents and then ask the gods, yeah, in our way, as we call it, as istikharah, yeah. So finally, I choose the Japan as my first foreign countries who I studied. So I studied in 1996 to 1998 for my master degree, and then also 2003, 2006 for my PhD. So since I landed in Japan, I fallen in love to Japan. So that is why both of my thesis I researched it in Japan system. One is about the gomi system, is how to manage the garbage collection in Japan, and then the second is how to manage the higher education in Japan. So and then that's give me a lot of I think maybe knowledge. Because through I studied a Japan system, I can maybe adopt a lot of things, yeah, from Japan values. So now I'm working in the Ministry of Manpowers. I think maybe between Indonesia and Japan now has a potential in strengthening cooperation. Why? Because now Indonesia has maybe we call it as demographic dividend, but in Japan is aging society. So by maybe create a very good cooperation, we can solve this problem. Because when we have like a demographic dividends, bonus demography, we need to maybe to absorb the employment, and then also Japan also need also the employment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pak Ahmad. Yes, here's all my senpai and all my wonderful colleagues that here we would like to discuss together about our challenge. As Pak Anwar said, there are many issues, including the higher education and also the garbage collection as well. I first studied garbage collection system in Surabaya, actually. Because where I'm from, Fukuoka, we had a strong cooperation during Ibu Risma's time, about the garbage collection. So that's one example that, as Pak Anwar said, we can work together to enhance our, life quality and also, also the economic benefit as well. But I would like to pick on several very pressing issues that we want to work together on. And one of them, of course, is about the health, especially in post-COVID period. We all suffered so much, and we had so much homework to do, especially in preparing and also to learn from, to create a better community together. And I think, as pandemic showed, it's not a one-country issue, it's a transnational issue. We need to know the practices. And it's not just about pandemic, it's about all the nutrition and also conventional healthcare system. So especially we want to tap into, but Charles, your expertise first, and how can we cooperate on the health issues? And for our fellow gentlemen, I would love to have you intervene in the conversation. So first, we would like to talk about how we could work on health together.
Thank you, Aizawa Sensei. I guess, experiencing the pandemic, one thing that we can learn from the pandemic, or what we have learned at least, is that what we had in the case of healthcare facility in the health sector, what we had, we realized that it was not enough. We did not have enough medical facilities, or even I would say did not have, but we do not have enough medical facilities. We only have about 3,000 hospitals catering 17,000 islands, of which 6,000 of these islands are inhabited. So we are lacking in medical facilities. We did not have enough, or we do not have enough medical practitioners, doctors. At the moment, our doctor-to-patient ratio is 0.67 to 1,000 people. This is far from ideal. I think if you compare to Japan, Japan's numbers are 5 times the number. Yeah, I think it's about 2.6 doctor per 1,000 patient. Ideally, at least we need to have one doctor per 1,000 patient. We do not have, during the pandemic, during the COVID outbreak or the pandemic, we were suffering from not having enough medicine, pharmaceutical products, yeah, and the medical devices. If we look at the data today, close to 90% of our medical devices and our pharmaceutical products are still imported from abroad. Yeah, so we had a problem, and we are still facing a problem. Last year, the House of Representatives and the Ministry of Health, we enacted a new law. We have deliberated and we have enacted a new law, which is the healthcare law, in the hopes of transforming the healthcare sector in Indonesia. This is a new law, considerably can be considered also as an omnibus law, because it touches nearly everything in the healthcare sector. Under this new law, we are hoping that we can produce more doctors. Yeah. Well, if we do not engage in a different approach, yeah, maybe it will take another 15 years before we can have one doctor per 1,000 population. But under this new law, we are trying to expedite the production of doctors now, or well, soon. We are still waiting for the government regulation to be issued. Other than earning education in the universities, doctors can also be trained as specialists in hospitals. So this is called a hospital-based, college-based education. Yeah? This is already practiced in the UK. Our hopes is that with this new system being placed, we can produce more specialists. Yeah. Secondly, we are also open to foreign specialists to come and practice in Indonesia. Foreign specialists, not general doctors, in order to also increase the capacity of Indonesian specialists. As you know, maybe a lot of Indonesians travel overseas every year to have medical consultation or medical services. I think the President have many times also mentioned that $11 billion leave our country every year to other neighboring countries such as Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, yeah, because people want to go abroad to have a medical consultation and medical services. So with this background in mind, the new law allows foreign specialists to come to Indonesia with some limitation, so that patients from Indonesia who have a better economic status, yeah, instead of going abroad, they can still have a consultation or have medical services from foreign specialists in Indonesia. Yeah, as you may also know, there are also special economic zones created in different parts of the country. Now I think Bali is one of them, yeah, where foreign doctors can practice in some hospitals. I think in Bali, the Ministry of State-owned Enterprise have cooperated with Mayo Clinic. In Jakarta soon, I think Johns Hopkins is coming also to Jakarta, and there are a few places around the country. So, yeah, during the COVID, we realized that it was not enough. So we deliberated a new healthcare law to expedite the creation of doctors, to expedite the creation of more medical facilities, to expedite the resiliency. Yeah, because as I mentioned earlier, 90% of our medical devices and the pharmaceutical products are still imported. So in the time of a pandemic, if we don't get what we need, then our people are suffering. So we are trying to be resilient in the healthcare sector. Yeah, the new law will give more incentives for local production, local innovation of pharmaceutical products and medical devices. And of course, as we are living now today in the era of digital technology, I think digital technology is also a big part of future medical innovation in Indonesia. So the government through the Ministry of Health have also implemented or adopted digital technology in providing services to regular, ordinary Indonesians. If you remember during the COVID period, we used to have the application called the, what was it called? Yeah, the COVID application. It is now transformed into a new application called Satu Sehat. Soon, in the hopes that every Indonesian citizen will have their own medical records in the application. So wherever we go to any medical facility throughout the country, every practitioner, every medical practitioner will be able to see what our medical records are. We have better services also from the government. We can know where to get certain medical services through one application called the Satu Sehat application. So we are transforming, and I believe that I think further cooperation with other countries, including Japan, can enhance the or can help us fulfill the needs for a better, or for creating a better health sector, environment, ecosystem, health ecosystem in Indonesia.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, this is, from a Japanese point of view, this is unthinkable, right? Like, the healthcare system is one of the most rigid systems that the state creates. And it has been traditionally, there are so many vested interests in social network. But you mentioned you have the law that you're able to change. You have the technology that you use it for your benefit. I mean, to create a new standard of the healthcare system. I mean, can you help us, like, why could this be done in Indonesia? Indonesia is not a small country like, one leader can just say and then change everything, right? It's a huge mega tanker, right? Even bigger than Japan. Japan is having the same issue. We have a huge health problem. We have economic disparities growing. We have, financial challenges, how to manage our healthcare system. We have the aging society issues. We have, the urbanization issue. I mean, so when we think about all these issues, everybody's trying not to touch on this kind of sacred issues. But Indonesia were able to do this. Like, how would you, could you share us, like, how did this happen?
Yeah, I think one of the main pusher, is the COVID situation. Yeah.
Okay.
At the time, it was a horrific situation. Maybe as it is also experienced by many other countries. There were over 100,000 patients hospitalized at the time, and our capacity throughout the whole country, we only have 300,000 beds. But 300,000 beds were not all for COVID. We have to also keep in mind that even when there's COVID, people are still getting sick from different other diseases, from heart diseases, cancer. So I think only 100,000 beds were available for COVID patients at the time. So during the peak of the Delta variant, it was a terrible situation, in different cities in Indonesia. So it forced us, to, we have to be prepared for a future pandemic and also to face other diseases, both new emerging diseases and also the non-communicable diseases, which is a problem also now in Indonesia. So this is the driver, I think, that pushed the ministry and also us in the parliament to start deliberating a new regulation to transform the whole healthcare sector. I mentioned earlier that we were facing COVID, but we are also facing different diseases, such as the non-communicable diseases. This is a big problem we are facing in Indonesia, and also a big burden for our economy. As you may know, maybe also faced by other countries, cardiac diseases, stroke, diabetes, and cancer. These are the 4 most deadliest diseases in Indonesia, and every year we can see the numbers, the burden to the country is getting bigger and bigger. In 2021, for example, the cost by BPJS Kesehatan, our state healthcare insurance company, for these 4 diseases is 17.9 trillion rupiah, which is about 1.5 billion US dollars. In 2022, it increased up to 24.1 trillion. Yeah. So if we do not do anything, it will keep on increasing. The number of population is growing, so society is also aging. So it could be a big burden for our budget and our economy. Yeah. Which is why I think I have to appreciate the works of our ministry today, that the approach to healthcare has changed. Yeah. Whereas previously the approach to healthcare is more of a curative approach. Now we are approaching our healthcare system, our healthcare sector in a more preventive and promotive approach. So preventive medicine and promotive medicine is now one of the biggest approach that is implemented by us. Yeah, how engaging with the community and making people to realize that living healthily is also one important approach that needs to be done to the people, and also early detection. We have approved, our parliament have approved the increase of the health ministry's budget every year to engage in early detection programs, so that people around the country can know earlier if they have certain diseases or if they have a potential to get the diseases. Heart condition, if you can detect it early, it may not be fatal. A cancer disease, if you can detect it in a stadium 1, it can still be easier to be healed, yeah, to be treated, compared if you are already in stadium 3 or stadium 4. So early detection is important, which is why the approach now is the promotive and the preventive medicine. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, that's a very innovative way of changing the governance of healthcare, which is the core of the governance. If I extend this topic from COVID exposed our vulnerability in terms of health, but also in profession, I want to ask Dr. About the manpower, right? I think not just in terms of physical health, but as a societal person, we face vulnerabilities in our profession as well. Everybody not just lost their life, but also their profession. The way to work has been changed. I think the standard of the future of work has changed. Therefore, the work of government also has changed. So, with what did we learn from the COVID, and what kind of practice do you see, maybe using new technology, creating new standard of how to create social network? I would like to ask you to share some of your ideas of what are the new governance for manpower and also the labor market.
Thank you very much, Professor Aizawa. I think maybe COVID-19 give us a very maybe important lesson in how to deal with the situation that actually currently we are facing. Because if we're talking about like employment or manpower in Indonesia, one of the issue is about the influence of Industrial Revolution 4.0 and then or maybe Societal Revolution 5.0. That's creating, due to of the intervention of information technology, it's creating a new job. And then also is also make some job is disappear. So we already make a list, and then what the kind of job that no consider as the like maybe a critical job. The job that maybe mostly are still using the manual is most considered to be the critical job. And then also some job there is appear. Especially job that are mainly driven by information and technology. And then I think the COVID-19 gave a great opportunity to us to learn in how we deal with the kind of this job. And then after the COVID-19 ends, yeah, is this the way of the job is still continue. And nowadays we can see that for the recruitment for the new employee, some of the company already give the information that for the employee no need to come to the office. They just can work from the remote. Yeah, this is I think maybe the COVID-19 gave also this rule to accelerate the process of how we deal with information technology. And then so that's why when the G20 when we are to be the president of G20 on 2022, we have is in terms of employment working groups, yeah, we put the themes in how we deal with the new world of work. Because like the new world of work is maybe we cannot avoid it, like working from the distance, working from home, or maybe even like the other scheme of the employment issue. So that's why there is the following from the issue. So we have to prepare in many things. One is about the social protection. Yeah, like labor, or maybe in other words, we call it as labor protection. Before, we just consider that's the workers who to receive the protection. Workers only work on the site of on the place of the working, like on the company. But when you are working from the home, you are also eligible to get the labor protection. But in many countries, there is still considered up to one, and even in G20 countries, yeah, there is no the common policy in how to deal with the people who are working from the distance. And then the second issue is also is driven by the COVID-19, is about as we call it, is like in terms of industrial relation. Industrial relation is like the relation between the employee and then employer. Yeah. In the previous, we just consider like people. There is a boss and then also the staff. There is employee and then it's employers. But now, due to of the information, the useful of the information technology, it's create a new kind of job that's just use the platform. So like the platform, for instance, in Indonesia, we have a lot of like economic platform, Gojek, and then maybe it's Grab, and then also etc. So if maybe we asking about like labor protection, who are responsible to give this, for instance, is for the payment of the for the labor protection, whether it's employer, yeah, or maybe a company, or maybe the owner of the digital platform. So that is why it's so now still to be considered one of the big challenge in terms of employment. And then the third issue that we have also that we have to prepare is because of currently, in terms of Indonesia, this specifically of Indonesian case, our demographic condition now, almost maybe more than 50% are composed from Gen Z and Gen Y. So there is the issue of Gen Z, yeah, Generation Z. So they have like a digital native. The strong as digital native, they can the ability for the foreign language is much better than the previous generation, and then but the weakness of them is in terms of the loyalty, and then also for them, working is not for me. Maybe Vice Governor is Gen Y, yeah? But for me it's Gen X, yeah. For the Gen X, for working is for the saving. But for the Gen Z, working is not only for the saving. They have to, while you're walking, but you also have to maybe enjoy with the entertainment. So that's why there is a concept is walktainment. So they try to consolidate, to compromise between walking and entertainment. So sometimes the loyalty is very weak, and then also if we're walking, then not only they're just walking, but they have to combine with like entertainment. So that's why Sensei. In Indonesia, there is I just said that Indonesia. In Indonesia, there is one word that now is maybe very common for the Gen Y and then Gen Z. What is healing? Healing. Yeah. While it's walking, we need to get healing. But there is also creates some economic opportunities, especially on tourism. That's maybe my opinion regarding of the impact and then of the COVID-19, and then also like what the impact of maybe revolution industrial 4.0 and then society revolution 5.0.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anwar, thank you very much. That's wonderful. I think Japanese, the Gen Z also has the same worktainment, principles. The purpose of work has been shifting a little bit. But I really want to touch upon you mentioned strengthening, you emphasized the need of common policy with the new standard of, say, for example, social protection, international relations. I mean, here in this seminar, if Japan and Indonesia wants to make a common policy for that, so that more Indonesians can work in Japan and Japanese can work in Indonesia, which button we need to press? Like, what kind of policy buttons, from your perspective, is most important? For example, as I said in the beginning, I really want to create a kind of a social alliance between Japan and Indonesia.
Yeah.
But I think it goes down to what you have just mentioned. What are the work protection, social protection, including health protection, and also, the relationship, work ethics. So, but let's start from the policy buttons. Like, where exactly do you think the policy button is?
Mentioned that currently we are on the same boat in terms of the situation. We are facing the same problem. Same problem is in terms of the revolution industry and then societal industry. Yeah. So that is why. So we need to maybe create the common regulation. Of course, maybe there is if we learn about the policy. No policy can fit for all. Yeah, one size for all. I think we have to avoid. Yeah, but we can learn from maybe other experience from the other countries. Yeah, like in terms of social protection, I think maybe if we talk about the current and then also the next job, the future job, we have to think about in how to give the security for the people who are working in the future job. This is, I think, is one problem that we need to solve. And then second thing, actually, that's we learn a lot in terms of manpower. We learn a lot from the Japanese system that you already prepare in how to minimize the mismatching problem. Yeah. Actually, now currently in Indonesia, we just created as labor market system. Yeah, and then also we have like the center of the labor market, because if we learn in economics, and one thing then one place that can maybe provide solution in demand and supply of the employment is market. So we learn like from the Japanese system, like you have like Hello Work, yeah. Hello Works, yeah. So, but maybe like the Hello Work system, we learn from your system. I think maybe as Bapak Menteri mentioned, Japanese is very detailed, Judo is very detailed, and then also is maybe consume a lot of paper, yeah? Consume a lot of process and a lot of document. So I think maybe in the future we can also create the common labor market system. So we have to we already have like labor market center, and then also you have also labor market system. So I think maybe once I was so surprised because when I checked like Hello Work in Japan, and then I checked what the kind of maybe the labor that I need in Indonesia, it's stated mentioned. There is some job vacancies in some company in Batang, Jawa Tengah, it's Central Java. So I think maybe every people can apply for this one. If we can share, like if we can share the data information regarding of the job or maybe employment condition in two countries, I think maybe we can solve your problem and then also Indonesian problem. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think if you hear Professor Anwar's point, I think the entrepreneurs in this room are now thinking, oh, I should create a transnational Hello Work right now and then create an app to be able to do the matching side. Thank you so much. I want to extend this conversation too because I think Anwar talked about the type of work. And I think this is where Japan and Indonesia has accumulated this relationship, especially on the industrial part. You know, so we had a manufacturing relationship, and now we have all the digital technology. So I think this is the time our Japan-Indonesia relationship in transition because the kind of economic cooperation we are doing is undergoing transition. So it was a manufacturer-based into now maybe service-based too. But we have both pros and cons and strength and weakness in the way we cooperate. So, Emil, I want to ask you on, you know, can you share us your idea? Like, our relationship has accumulated very well in manufacture. Can you share us how we could reevaluate the relationship built upon manufacturing? And also, if we add the digitalization in the service sector, in what way can we create a new kind of relationship together?
Thank you. East Java is the second largest contributor of Indonesia's economy. We now have 38 provinces in Indonesia, but 1/6 of Indonesia's economy is contributed from East Java alone, with 40 million population. And about nearly a quarter of Indonesia's manufacturing comes from East Java, precisely nearly 23%. And within East Java itself, within our economy, nearly 1/3 of our economy comes from manufacturing. So that's how important it is. Now, the issue that we face in East Java, and probably Java as a whole, is that in the early industrialization era of Indonesia, it relied upon two things. The first is the natural resources, which may not necessarily come from Java. It can come from the other islands, and also the cheap labors. But then subsequently things have changed. Of course, we push for better welfare for the labor, cost of living also increase, and the outer islands are beginning to industrialize as well. So it is not easy for Java to survive only on relying upon natural resources from other islands. So it needs to then go downstream in the value chain of the industry. Now that results in us having to really make sure that we have what we call as both the competitive advantage as well as the comparative advantage of having a large market like 40 million people, which is why we thank Basuki for pushing the toll road, because the improvement of infrastructure improve the competitiveness of Java Island as well. And which is why also at the same time in parallel, the ministry is also building infrastructure outside Java, so that at the same time we try to maintain Java's competitiveness. Now, the challenge is we know so very well that Java is probably the densest major island in the world, with only Bangladesh as a comparison. If you look at the rank, so Java is big enough to, be like a country, for example, and then you put Borneo. Of course, when you go to Sumatra, then the density just drops rapidly. So if you compare that with Bangladesh and Java, then you have about roughly the same figure, which is the densest in the world. I'm not looking at Singapore or small islands. And then you go to the next country, then the density just suddenly drop almost half. So there is, which is why Indonesia is moving the capital to Borneo, with the purpose of not only putting it more in a central location, but also to ease the level of concentration of economy. But the question is, when that process happened, what happened to Java? Will it experience a level of decline at first as development starts to shift outward? Or it can actually still go smoothly? Now, politically, if we look at the electoral strategy, because one man, one vote, then you have to think about Java. Now, we are fortunate enough to see that it doesn't really work that way in terms of development. Our Menteri can still take care of the outer islands and still make the people in Java happy without having to make more than half of the investment in Java alone. So going back to the question of manufacturing, are we still going to be competitive going forward? And the key is human capital. The key is human capital has to be the competitive factor. Now, putting that in relation with Indonesia and Japan, we know that if we look at the economic structure of Japan, Japan actually has a lot of its GDP coming from its export of technology, not necessarily export of manufactured goods. So we believe, and we really welcome, we don't really look into the ownership of the factories. We just want to create jobs. We want to work hard. We want to work professionally. And we want to then be a good launchpad to sell products within the region. So if we look at Indonesia as a whole, it is half of the ASEAN economy. Half of the ASEAN population and both economy is in Indonesia. And if you put East Java alone, that's almost 7%. So we would like to be the gateway for manufacturing to ASEAN, to start through Indonesia. So we believe that the only way for Java to continue its role in manufacturing is to really be more competitive in the downstream industries. Now, one example is we have the special economic zone in Gresik, which is processing copper smelting. And following the copper smelting, so government fiscal incentives are being provided, infrastructure support. Once again, thank you, Pak Menteri. You are widening the access road to the special economic zone, the Dendels Road, in order to ensure that there is a smooth. So there is a massive $1 billion investments in smelting, which will then give intermediate input to the downstream industry, such as one example is copper foil, if I'm not mistaken, and there will be other users of copper cathode. We also plan to have a petrochemical plant, and we already have a petrochemical plant in Tuban. And petrochemical can actually, the downstream industry can be in pharmaceuticals. So the challenge is, how do we get there? And we think that partnering with Japan is really potential the way we develop the Kijang. Yeah, I think the spirit of making the Toyota Kijang needs to go into many different sectors. Because now the structure is in East Java, the top contributor of manufacturing is food and beverage, followed by tobacco, because it's but now we're seeing the emergence of both the chemical industry as well as pharmaceuticals. So that's how we see. Now, how do we put that in place? I think that's where we need to work closely together on really attracting more investment. Currently, 155 companies, if I'm not mistaken, already operate in East Java. So our mantra for bringing in investment, and we are fortunate that you put them for half an hour, they would already have fatigue. So, but what I'm trying to say is, this cross-border working culture is something that may be a breath of fresh air for the future of our collaboration.
Thank you so much. And I think in order to keep this type of mutual cooperation, I think I need to address our choke points, which is the energy. I need to ask Pak Dadan on this, because Japan, of course, our choke point is our energy supply, and I think Indonesia is, even though you produce, you are the producer, but you still have more consumption, so the energy is definitely a choke point. And our lifestyle has changed, the style of work has changed, and so this is the part where we need to be very innovative. So Pak Dadang, where do you see our new standard, new patterns of our energy governance and energy, optimization could go to?
Thank you, Aizawa Sensei. Just would like to start with the Indonesian situation and also the current cooperation with Japan. Yeah, actually Japan is our traditional partner for both, yeah, G2G and also B2B. Yeah, we have been exporting our resources to Japan, in particular for gas and coal. Indonesia is actually rich in terms of coal. By the current production, our coal be enough up later. So we are rich in that part. We have renewable energy resources also in the country. We have more than enough in terms of the resource, in terms of the reserve. We are the second largest, I think, in terms of geothermal. And Japan is our almost main counterpart for the geothermal investment. Most of the big companies in Japan working on technologies provider are also exist here. Yeah. So those are currently in the implementation. We have share of our common interest in terms of our future on the energy transition. Japan supporting us in terms of the initiative. We have the Just Energy Transition Partnership. Japan is one member of the IPG on that part. Japan also initiating the so-called the Asia Zero Emission Community, the AZEX. So in that part, I think both countries can share the resources, can share the technologies, can share also the well, as the benefit of the decarbonization, can share the carbon, can share the carbon credit. We have the initiative also in the country, say for example, to develop the CCS, carbon capture and storage, carbon capture utilization and storage. This is also our proposal on how we can cooperate on that part, including the carbon trading. Yeah. We have been working together on that part with the some project, yeah, since I think 2011, something like that, with the joint carbon mechanism. And now I think we are in a discussion also how to continue that part with more fair and transparent of the sharing of the carbon credit on this. This I think will be continued for the development. Yeah. And for the thing that I think will be our common interest in developing the cooperation. We have, of course, the project already in the field. Yeah. We have the giant project of our gas development is with Japan, the impacts. We have the giant project, I think Pak Menteri also aware on this, of the project in North Kalimantan for hydro. This is the giant one also, hydropower. We are also interested in developing the future cooperation in terms of the energy transition. Say for example, how to develop the green hydrogen. We have enough renewable energy resources. We can work together on developing such kind of the cooperation using, say for example, whether this is coming with geothermal. I know that Japan also huge in terms of the resources on this part. We can work on the part of the wind, for example. We have quite huge resources of wind and hydro in Papua. Wind is in the southern part, and for hydro is a little bit the northern part for Membrano. we can work together then to develop such kind of the economic or industrial zone, how then to develop the hydrogen, follow with ammonia, for example. My understanding is that Japan has difficulty also to do the energy transition, has huge challenges similar to us, because the power is quite dependent on coal currently. As with us, I think we are 66% and Japan something like 40%, still huge. So how then the technology can solve this? How then the carbon capture can work on that part? So then we can continue to do the production of more economic electricity with the green or with no carbon emission on that part. Yeah. We are also, I think, inviting Japan. I'm still, I don't really understand why Japan does not quite put much more attention into development of the EV, including the supply chains. Many companies, many big companies coming to us, to Indonesia, but without Japan. So no big companies coming to develop the EV industry, say for example battery. There's only one company, I think Sumitomo, on Vale, but no others coming to develop the. I think this is the future of the energy transition, the energy storage, the battery industry. So we can work on that part. Japan has been advanced in terms of the automotive industry, but not yet in terms of the EV. But we can combine these resources. We are rich in terms of nickel. You have more advanced in terms of the technology of automotive, then go together into the EV industry in Indonesia. This is the one that currently Indonesia will be offering something that will be more interesting in terms of the incentive here on that part. We have many minerals actually coming in the country. Yeah. And this mineral actually is supporting the energy transition. And this kind of energy transition is actually becoming our common concern. Yeah. Because all countries actually has put the commitment into the net zero emission, put the commitment at least into the NDC in 2030. Yeah. So I think I will stop on this first.
Thank you so much, Pa. Yes, I think that is not just a global challenge, but I think our respective country challenge, and it's a common challenge. I think you gave us a lot of homework, I think, and also we need to kind of crystallize, maybe the concept of sustainability maybe is one concept that we would like to kind of innovate as well. But do you have any ideas of new concept of sustainability so that we could engage with maybe younger generation, or as a consumer, not just a producer or industrial, but as a consumer? Any ideas? This is a way we can define sustainability so that we can bring in attention from the younger generation of both countries.
Yes, I think the concept of sustainability has been within us some years.
Yes.
But now I think the concept is being expanded, at least to my understanding. Yeah. So sustainability is also connected with the emission, with the greenhouse gas emission. So we cannot say this is sustainable if this is still producing the carbon, is still having the carbon footprint. So now I think from now on, we cannot avoid that everything will be counted. How is the carbon footprint? How much you produce the carbon when you are producing this kind of the product, and also all activities, I think. So the concept of sustainability will be on that part, and most country or in majority, I think, has put this into the mechanism of the trading in particular, for example. UK, say for example, in 2026, will put into the carbon border tax. So once we are producing the product with high of the carbon footprint, then they will put on us on additional tax. So for Indonesia, the sustainability, the decarbonization are our way to keep that Indonesia still competitive. Yeah. Otherwise, we can produce with the lower price, lower cost, because we are using the high carbon energy. Then we will be lost. I probably compare with Vietnam in particular, because now they are using more, clean and renewable energy. So everything will go to their part.
Thank you so much. Pak Dadan is my senpai in Kyoto University, so thank you so much for that, senpai. Yes. Well, it's my apologies for not being able to keep the time. It is too tempted to, take the best out of our speakers here. So I would like to conclude here, and thank you so much for all for listening, and thank you so much for our wonderful panelists in sharing your ideas and your expertise. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the panel discussion 1. Thank you for the moderator and our speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, after this session, we will have a coffee break. For our VIPs, the coffee break will be served to your table, and for other guests, the coffee break is served outside this ballroom, and we expect to resume our agenda at 12:10. Thank you. Please enjoy your refreshments provided in and outside this auditorium. For the moderator and panelists from the session 1, we kindly invite all of you to go to the stage and take a group picture. Thank you for the Minister of Public Works and Public Housing of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Dr. M. Basuki Hadimuljono, Master of Science, for attending this symposium. Two. We'd like to invite the moderators and panelists to come to the stage. Professor Jun Honna, Ritsumeikan University, as the moderator. We invite the panelists, the first one, Ms. Lintang Paramitasari Wibawa, PhD, Director of Junior Diplomat Training, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Dr. Irfan Saleh, Director of Water Resources, Bapenas. Dr. Prani Sastiono, Senior Researcher and Assistant Professor, Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Indonesia. And Mr. Sho Ikeda, Partner, Indonesia Representative Office, Global Brain. Before we start, let me introduce our moderator for this second panel discussion. Jun Honna is a professor in Ritsumeikan University's Department of International Relations. He specializes in Indonesian politics, Southeast Asia studies, and comparative politics. His research interests include civil-military relations, electoral politics, and transnational crime in Southeast Asia, especially Indonesia. He graduated from the Australian National University. He is a former JICA Research Fellow, 2008 to 2012, adjunct professor, Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, Universitas Indonesia in 2009, and he has been awarded Ohira Masayoshi Awards in 2015. Without further ado, please welcome Professor Jun Honna from Ritsumeikan University to take the lead for the session.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang, salam sejahtera untuk kita semuanya. Ohayo gozaimasu. Okay, just introduced, my name is Jun Honna. I'm from Kyoto. I'm teaching international relations at Ritsumeikan University, as well as security studies at GRIPS in Roppongi. And we have a lot of the graduate from two universities, Ritsumeikan and then GRIPS. And I know some of the face here who graduated from Japan, especially Ritsumeikan and GRIPS. So I'm very happy to be here, to be assigned as the moderator of this second session. And this second session, following the first session, we are going to discuss more details on how JICA can contribute to the future generation Japan-Indonesia cooperation. We have 4 panelists here, very great panelists. Ikeda Sho-san, he is a partner of Indonesia representative of Global Brain. I like his T-shirt. This is our uniform in Indonesia, but this is his uniform in official place. Very good. And then we have Dr. Prani Sastrio, the lecturer of Faculty of Economics and Business at the University of Indonesia. She's also a graduate of GRIPS. And then we have Dr. Irfan Saleh, Director of Water Resources of Papenas, again graduate of GRIPS. Luar biasa GRIPS. And of course, we have Dr. Lintan Paramatasari Wibawa, Director of Junior Diplomatic Training of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Indonesia. So I'd like to spend 45 minutes for our discussion, and followed by Q&A from by opening this discussion to the floor. So first of all, I want to introduce yourself. What kind of everyday work you are doing, and how is your relationship with Japan? Maybe as a kick-off this panel discussion. And after that, I want to raise some common questions to all of you. Maybe 3 or 4 common questions to all of you. And then maybe if time allows, we open the floor for Q&As. I'm sure that I want to ask very specific questions to each of the panelists because they are working in a very different field, but very exciting activities. So I want to ask very specific questions, but I'm worried that I don't have enough time for doing that. So I leave it to the Q&A from the floor. So first of all, I want you to tell a little bit about, not a little bit, tell something about what you're doing here and your relationship with Indonesia or Japan. Maybe we can start from the Ikeda-san, right? Ikeda-san, yes, please.
Okay. Hi, selamat siang. Saya tinggal di Jakarta kira-kira 5 tahun, but my bahasa is not so good, so please allow me to use English. So I'm Sho Ikeda from Global Brain. I believe all of you don't know Global Brain, so yeah, please remember this name. And Global Brain is a Japanese venture capital investing globally. And I'm in charge of Indonesian investment. And so my mission is investing in startup in Indonesia. As you know, in these days, many innovation come from startups. In Indonesia, Tokopedia, Gojek, Bukalapak, they are now big business. But 5 years ago, 7 years ago, they were very small startups. So my mission is find that kind of small startup and establish big business with them. And actually, we have many big and strong network with Japanese resources. So we want to provide not only money, but also Japanese resources or Japan or global expertise to startups and develop big business. So I want to make next Gojek or next Tokopedia in Indonesia with all of you. So I want to become a bridge between Indonesia and Japan in startup ecosystem. So yeah, we really want to collaborate with all of you. So yeah, thank you for taking this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ikeda-san. I want to next ask Dr. Purani.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Ohayo gozaimasu. My name is Prani Sastiono. I'm a I'm the head of undergraduate program in economics in Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Indonesia. I'm also a researcher with LPM. LPM is a research institute below Faculty of Economics and Business in Universitas Indonesia, and my research interest is digital economy, so we have a lot of common ground. Yeah. I studied in Japan in 2009 until 2015, 2009 to 2015, I think. So I took my PhD in GRIPS. I studied economics, public policy, and behavioral economics. So for us, Japanese society is really interesting. So my PhD dissertation is on concert tickets. So concert tickets in Japan is resold, so it's dynamic. And then they also don't have like seating, so there's a lot of uncertainty. So in terms of economics, it's really interesting. And also my friend also write about Fukubukuro, and it is published in international journals. So yeah, I found my time in Japan is very fulfilling, and yeah, I'm happy to be here today and discuss about relationship and cooperation, collaboration between Indonesia and Japan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prani. So next, Irfan-san.
Hi, gozaimasu. My name is Irfan. I am a director of water sources in the Ministry of Planning, Bappenas in Indonesia. I am a kohai of Ibu Prani that we studied together. I start from 2010 until 2014 at GRIPS. At that time, during that time, we also experienced the Tohoku Jising, yeah? The earthquake in March 2011, and then we stayed there, choose to continue. And then we graduate in policy analysis. My expertise in urban economics and in policy analysis program, and now I work in Bappenas since 2000, and then work in the water resources and infrastructure sector. And during my study at GRIPS also I study a lot about, learn about the infrastructure and the economics and urban development, and that's why, yeah, for us maybe as a GRIPS students, JICA is like our second campus, because a lot of our professors in JICA. Okay, that's maybe for introduction.
Thank you, Irfan-san. Okay, finally, Prani-san.
Ohayou gozaimasu, everyone. My name is very long, Lintang Paramitasari Panoadinat Wibawa, but you can call me Mita. Mita like Mita Seng, you know, the train Mita, yeah. So I heard from my friend that actually the name Mita is a very ancient name in Japan, but I'm happy to be introducing my name as an ancient name in Japan. I work for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, or I'm a foreign service officer or a diplomat. Currently, I have two hats, which is, first one is the director for the Junior Diplomatic School. So if you're a new recruit joining the ministry, like one of my colleagues here who's wearing green batik, he's actually just joining us like 2 or 3 years ago, you will have to go through me, meaning that I'm going to give you all the necessary skills to transform yourself from a student to a diplomat. At the same time, I have another hat, which is I work for a team, which is called the Team for the Acceleration of Economic Recovery, that was established by the Minister of Foreign Affairs during the pandemic. So our team's task that time was to acquire vaccine, even before we could gotten vaccine from other places, but we were among the first to get vaccines from our partner countries abroad. And also we were also working on some investment issues, such as during the G20 as well as the ASEAN year. So how I get to be introduced to Japan? Actually, most of my life I was brought up in various places in the world. I think my formative years was mostly spent in the US. And when my husband told me first time that, Mit, you should go to Japan once, and I said, there's no better place than being in New York. And then he said, no, I'm going to get posted in Tokyo, and you have to follow me. You're going to get a PhD there, and then you'll see life is very different and much, much nicer than being in New York. So I guess I was sort of converted. Now, every time there's an opportunity for me to travel to Japan, I would take it. It's lovely to be back. It's lovely to be also on this stage and also sharing some of my views with you all. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mita-san. See, as we see, we have a lot of different fields. We have a startup, expert. We have education expert. We have water resource management expert in this, and we have diplomat here. So 4 different, let's say, fields of activities are now gathering and sitting on the same table. So it's very tough to think about any question for different sectors. But let me first ask you about big picture. Like, we know that Indonesia is transforming to the developed countries, and we have a slogan, and we have a vision of Indonesia Emas, 2024. Indonesia is going to be the member of the industrial advanced country. And looking from your own different sector or different field of activities, what are the major challenges you can imagine toward this vision of year 2045? Maybe shall we start from this side or?
One of the things that we did this year is our chairmanship in ASEAN. As you probably know, this 2023, Indonesia is the chair of ASEAN, and we have proposed the theme of ASEAN Matters Epicentrum of Growth. We believe that the growth of ASEAN, the growth of Indonesia is related and linked to ASEAN, and it's even linked to the greater Indo-Pacific region. So that is the reason why during the summit, we also held an event which is called the ASEAN Indo-Pacific Forum. We understand that, the partnership between Indonesia and Japan and Indonesia with other countries does not happen in a vacuum. It happens during a time where the geopolitical dynamics is quite worrying, and I think there's a lot of challenges in front of us when it comes to man-made or even natural disasters, as we just finished a pandemic before. So we hope that having this theme will enhance our awareness as well as our together our cooperation and collaboration with the Indo-Pacific region. And during the summit, we had a flagship event called the ASEAN Indo-Pacific Forum, in which we proposed 3 issues, in which I believe we should also look into these issues as a way to work together in the future. First one is on green infrastructure. I think when it comes to infrastructure and trying to achieve the zero emission, there's a lot of opportunity and also investment floating on green investment. And we believe that the future has to do with green infrastructure, whether it's renewable energy, whether it's greener buildings, smart cities. And I think all of those are opportunities for Indonesia and Japan to work together. Another topic that we also proposed during the event is on digital transformation. I think I'm quite happy to see Sho-san here. I think when it comes to making our economy more efficient, we have to have digital transformation. And that is also another issue that we need to work together. Lastly, it's about innovative and sustainable financing. I mean, we can work on we can have many dreams, but if the money is not there, it's just not gonna happen. And we have to find ways, whether through blended finance, whether to, trying to get the private money or, multilateral development bank money, we have to find a way to ensure that these financing are available to all. So I think we have big homeworks in front of us, but it doesn't mean that we have to be complacent. I think Indonesia and Japan has achieved many things. We just had the comprehensive strategic partnership signed this year, and I think in the future there'll be more rooms for collaboration as well.
Great, thank you.
Okay, let me start by saying that 5 years ago I also attended this kind of seminar in 60th year of Indonesia-Japan relations, and at that time Indonesia just launched this vision And we, in that forum 5 years ago, we talked about the position of Indonesia and Japan in 2045, what kind of cooperation with that. And I think it's still relevant until now, the issue for that, because in that we can see that as our late President Habibie at that time gave a speech in GRIPS, he said that Japan and Indonesia is like one body, with very close relations in economics and also the development, because our relationship for 65 years now, as mentioned by Pak Minister Basuki as well, the significance of Japan investment in Indonesia, and also the contribution from Indonesia to the economic development in Japan is very close. And then we will become like Indonesia have a ambitious target to become the fifth largest economy in the world in 2045, and I think Japan will be either in the 6th or in the 4th, because that's to make sure that we can achieve that, we should make sure that our relationship will be much stronger in the future, because this is like the most biggest opportunity for us to become an advanced country together, because we share a lot of similarities in the geographical settings, and also our challenges in nature, and also many type of activities. In terms of my sector, for instance, in water resources, we experience a lot of challenges here in Indonesia about the natural related disaster, and also investment from Japan, as Pak Basuki, for instance, mentioned about the Sabo Dam. We realized that we now learning together. Indonesia will be also some expert from Japan also come to Indonesia to learn about the condition of Indonesia, because the challenges here in Indonesia is quite unique, and then it will develop our capacity together. For instance, in terms of these volcanic activities in next year, as Pak Basuki mentioned, we will have the upcoming loan from JICA related to the volcano. This is unique because even in Japan, there's the case of the volcanoes in Indonesia is different, and that's why we learn together and we support each other, and we can have develop to our skills together, and that's that kind of relationship that will be the insurance of our target to have to become the developed country as Indonesia in the future. And I think that's the main message, and we talk about many sectors that become opportunity for us in Indonesia, like Ibu Lintang just mentioned, and I also mentioned about this the trade and also marine and fisheries, a lot of sectors, and including our challenges together because the climate change. And I think that's also a strong message. Next year we will have in Bali a World Water Forum. Japan is one of the partner, as Pak Basuki, Minister Basuki mentioned this morning, that we will have a focus on disaster risk reduction, and our discussion there is led by the ICHAM and one of the research unit in Japan that related to the climate change and disaster. That kind of challenges that Indonesia need, but also the world need it. And also I think it's also vice versa. As Pak Anwar mentioned about the opportunity to supply the manpower to Japan, that's also kind of relationship that will be come to make sure that will be the partners for long time, and more than 100 years from now, maybe we will still be like a brothers. That's maybe my message for now.
Very interesting. Thank you, Pranisa. Thank you, Ivan. Next,
okay. I think for Indonesia Mas 2045, there are like 3 important things for me. One is human capital formation. Like we have challenges both in basic education and higher educations. In basic education, our PISA score is not improving. So I think we need to do something to increase the quality of education. I mean, like enrollment is almost universal at basic education level, but the quality of education needs improvement. And then also in higher education, like with digitalization, there are a lot of uncertain things and more new things to learn. So curriculum is updated every 4 to 5 years. So the development of the sector might not be, it cannot be catch up with the change in curriculum. And our STEM graduates is only less than 20%. It is the second lowest in ASEAN. So I think it is a challenge too. So cooperation in human capital formation between Indonesia and Japan, I think there is a room and it is needed. And then the second one is investment, but not just investment, but investment in R&D. So I don't know why both private and public sector in Indonesia rarely invest in R&D. So the proportion is really low. I really welcoming Ikeda-san in Indonesia because he said that he don't want to just give funding. Like, yes, we need funding in these tech winters. So tech winters is the time where digital sector has a recession. So this is recession season, and we need funding. But not only funding, but we need transfer of knowledge and then technological transfer. So those resources for our startups is also needed, not only funding. And then the third one is institution, I think. So good governance, how to do things like Pak Bas already showed, how you line us up to take pictures. So yeah, institution is still needed to be reformed. I think that's from me. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Pranay-san. So there are a lot of expectations to the Ikeda-san.
Okay, yes, we have professional in economy or government, so I want to speak about only in startup. And and also I believe startup can contribute very much to the Indonesian economy, same as Google, Facebook, Amazon contribute to US economy. And maybe you know Grab, that's from Singapore, but they finally achieved EBITDA positive this quarter or next quarter. So before that, they are negative, so not profitable company. So the startup can contribute to the economy and change the world, but they need many capital. And in Indonesia, unfortunately, there are not so many startup investors. So we need much more foreign investors. So we have to think about how to invite foreign investors to Indonesian investment. In my understanding, today's organizer JICA have many such kind of activity. For example, JICA Ninja Accelerator. So in Ninja Accelerator, JICA supports startup business, and they have pitch demo day and invite many foreign investors to that kind of event, and they encourage investment to startup in Indonesian investment. I think that kind of activity is very important and necessary. So, and yeah, of course we want to support that kind of activity. Yeah, that's my thought.
Thank you very much for very important insight for panelists here. So as we see, we have a lot of different kind of agenda to overcome for the Indonesia's 2024 golden vision. For example, Indo-Pacific cooperation is important, as mentioned today, here, infrastructure, renewable energy, digital transformation, sustainable financing, and at the same time, we have emphasis on climate change, how disaster reaction is an important agenda to overcome. At the same time, we focus on education in human capital development, investment in that field, human resource development, and also good governance, institutionalization of good governance. That will be an important agenda. Again, and also we have we have emphasis on the importance of inviting startup investment from foreign company. So we have very diverse agenda to overcome. Now I want to a little bit go into the more specific topic, which is the role of JICA, because we are here for JICA. So how, in order to overcome these challenges you are addressing today, how Japan, especially JICA, can contribute for the betterment of this problem solving, and what can you propose some new frontier of new initiative of cooperation between JICA and your field? Maybe it's better to have more provocative ideas. Okay, please.
I'm a big believer in synergy and cooperation. So, of course, when JICA invited me to speak on this, I think one of the areas that hasn't really been touched is about trilateral cooperation. For example, so Indonesia has Indo-Aid, which is almost similar to what JICA is doing, which is providing assistance to many countries. And our Indo-Aid is still very small in terms of the monetary value, but it has big dreams, because Indonesia does not want to be seen anymore as just a developing country. We also want to contribute to the development of other countries. How about working together between JICA and Indo-Aid, especially in projects outside of Indonesia? So that way, for example, if we can make the pie bigger, especially when it comes to the condition right now. When we talk about the world, there's a lot of funding and assistance coming from various countries to certain big region, big promising region. If Indonesia works together with Japan in this promising region in Africa, for example, we can not only make Indo-Aid learning more from big brother JICA, but we can also provide more to countries outside of Indonesia and Japan. Another sector that's also I think is important is Indonesia has a big agenda when it comes to downstreaming of our industry. There's a lot of interest in acquiring more resources outside of Indonesia to complement the growing supply chain for our battery resources. I understand from the previous discussion that probably Japan is more interested in hybrid cars instead of EV. Nevertheless, it does not mean that Japan may not be interested in also working together with Indonesia in acquiring resources outside, so that way it will be part of Indonesian supply chain for EV or for battery. And I think the sort of projects that Japan has lots of expertise can actually be, sort of replicated, so that way Indonesia can learn from it. We always talk about technology transfer, but I think knowledge transfer is also as important as technology transfer. And I think as Menteri, our minister just said before, I think there's a lot of ways in the way Japan is working, the system that Japan is working, whether the private sector or public sector, in which Indonesia can learn from it. Another one, I think when it comes to security, when we talk about health security, we talk about food security and also energy security, there's a lot of opportunity as well in there to make the pie bigger. We have no choice, I think, these days, but to strengthen our partnership, given all of the challenges that we have abroad. And I think when it comes to innovation, if you want to achieve Indonesia 2045, if you don't want to be stuck in the middle income trap, I think innovation is important. And the sort of innovation that we can probably focus on is how to ensure that our security on those three pillars is fulfilled. And I'm sure that that is something also of interest to Japan.
Great, thank you.
As a students, I took 2 classes related to the ODA. That's why I talk about the discussion about the JICA policy in globally and also in Indonesia. It become one of my topics at that time. And I think we can talk about a lot of things about how to enhance our relationship with the supporting by JICA, yeah, in particularly because I'm also working in Bappenas. For instance, let me talk about the performance of our activities now with JICA. I think if I can say we do a lot of program cooperation in terms of technical assistance and also project and program loan, and most of it all we have a lot of experiences and learn from that. And I think that one of the issue that now become like more challenging for us in Indonesia, because maybe we are not only dealing with the physical aspect, not only the physical infrastructure, but also the system. Like we see it in the MRT, as mentioned by Pak Ambassador Kenji this morning. The MRT is not only the physical infrastructure, but also the system and also the culture, and that kind of activities that should be also like expanded in other sectors in Indonesia. For instance, in my sector, in irrigation sector and also flood management, we are not only investing in the infrastructure or green infrastructure and such, but also we should deal also to enhance our cooperation to develop the capacity for the local government, for instance, or community empowerment. And that kind of activities, I think JICA can do more in the future, because now particularly for the project alone, we have focus on the investment, but I think if we also focus on the how to build the system, that's become, I think, opportunity in the future. And the second one, I think we talk about the larger context now in Indonesia, because now Indonesia become the upper middle income. We talk about our cooperation with Japan now, and access to ODA will be limited. But I think one issue is for us, we as Indonesia, we are no longer rely on government investment. We need a lot of private and including the international investors. And I think in the future, I think JICA can become like a facilitator for that. For instance, we are not only talking about lending some money from Japan and then do something here, but I think we can use that kind of cooperation in terms of technical cooperation or loan to get inviting the investor, particularly from Japan and also other regions, investor in Asia Pacific or even in the world, from the world. And I think that kind of cooperation in the future can be facilitated also by JICA. For instance, if we can talk about again about the MRT, because MRT will be extended in the second phase, and also the East-West. I think if we can make these packages as an investment package, including the investment for new CBD or areas, and can invite the investor from domestic or international investor, I think that kind of opportunity in the future, JICA can play a much role for that. Yeah, lastly about the technical cooperation, about the upskill and improving our skill, I think that kind of cooperation is still needed in many sectors in Indonesia, like also Ibu Prani mentioned before. I think that's maybe for.
Thank you, Irfan-san. So, Prani-san?
Okay, so first for higher education, Japan has Mobuga Kusho scholarships already, and Indonesia also has LPDP scholarships. There is also ISMA. ISMA is a program where students in undergraduate years can exchange for one semester to foreign countries. But like I saw that the interest in Japan is not as big as before. Maybe like for ISMA, there are only like 2 choices for universities, Keio and Osaka. I don't know why. Maybe there's some regulation that must be fulfilled. So yeah, the top countries are US, of course, UK, and then Australia, and then Netherlands. Maybe it's a language thing, but yeah, I think like the demand can be improved maybe. Also like for LPDP, they give a lot of money, right? So maybe it is more interesting to go to UK or US than to Japan. But I think that we can do something about it. For example, university to university cooperation, maybe JICA can facilitate university to university cooperation. So not only for graduate studies, but also maybe for undergraduate studies. So I'm in the university, a lot of universities in US and UK come to us and they ask us recommendation for master degree or PhD level students, who would we recommend, and maybe they can give some leniency on like GRE and something. So that's something that we can work on, like university to university cooperation. And then not only that, but maybe like facilitate a Japanese professor to come here and Indonesian professor to come there. It's also something that need to be encouraged for research. Pak Charles said about building foreign hospitals in Indonesia, and like for me, like it's not only like building foreign hospital, but there needs to be transfer of knowledge, transfer of skills, and some universities already have cooperation actually, like in the medicine, like University of Indonesia has collaboration with Japanese National Center for Child Health, for example, for liver transplantation. So that's something that needs to be encouraged, I think, for higher education. For basic education, I think like actually we can learn a lot from Japan, but it's not explored yet. Like in Japan, even in high school, you learn about financial literacy. Like you cannot spend more than 30% of your income, like maximum 30% for rents or something. But in Indonesia, we don't have something like that. And then like you teach independence in like elementary schools or something. I think that's something that we can learn. Maybe we can explore. I don't know why there is no Japanese international school here. Maybe there is, but I don't know yet. But I think that's also something that can be explored. And the last one is when we talk about investment, like startups. I know that JICA has already facilitated like an event for micro and small, medium enterprises and Japan investors. I think it needs to be encouraged more, but not only in terms of funding. I think we need to have skill transfer and then knowledge transfer and technological transfer, so that we don't only become the consumer of digital goods and digital services, because I'm worried that that's the direction that we are going to. Like we have big value of digital economy, but we consume, we don't produce like computers. I don't think that we can build like good computers in the next 10 or 20 years, but I think that something needs to be planned, like in terms of human capital and also in terms of infrastructure and firm capabilities. I think that's really important for us, and maybe Japan can also help us in that direction.
Thank you very much. Very provocative. Okay, last but not least,
Okay, I'm sorry, I always talk about money because I'm an investor. Yeah, so actually I'm thinking about how to invite Japanese money to Indonesia. And of course, all Japanese consumer company understand Indonesian market is globalization. And Indonesia, the growth speed of market growth speed is Indonesia is much faster than Japan. Everybody knows. But Japanese people or corporation, financial institution, or they don't know who or what they should invest. So, for example, my Japanese portfolio company, they are lending crowdfunding platform. So they gather Japanese money from consumer and lend that money to other country SMEs, small medium enterprises. And actually they started lending in Indonesia this year. And many Japanese consumers want to join that program. So many Japanese people are expecting Indonesian market. So, in that situation, I think the JICA can have many roles. So one of them is, of course, communication hub. As I mentioned, JICA already have many events, and yeah, that's very good. And I want JICA to do it more and more. And if I can say, if I think JICA have many investment projects in many countries, including Indonesia. So, if possible, if JICA invests in Indonesian startup or Indonesian VC or Southeast Asia VC, everything's okay. But if JICA has that kind of activity, Japanese corporation, Japanese people find it, oh, this entity can be very good. So that's in Japanese, Yorimizu, but in English, I don't know how to say. But yeah, if JICA do some action to start up or issue some entity, all Japanese think, oh, this entity, we can respect or believe this entity. So I think that's one of the big role of JICA in this country.
Yeah, I think that if I may connect what most of the panelists have been saying here is that I think it's important that we build on people-to-people contact. It's important that we know Japanese person in person, so that way we can build all this synergy and working together. As Wu already mentioned before, I think previously during my time, there's a lot of my colleagues at the Foreign Service being interested in studying in Japan. However, these days we have LPDP, which is a very, I would say, quite, the money that we receive in terms of the scholarship is quite big. So most of them now apply for LPDP and they prefer to travel to the US or UK. And there's less and less people who are now graduate from Japanese university in the Foreign Service. And honestly, I'm one of the most active proponents. I try to engage everybody, especially the youngsters, to study back to go to Japan to study. And so I think with the choices that Japan has right now, it's either you focus more on shorter trainings to have more people coming to Japan for shorter trainings so that way they be acquainted, they have some connection with Japan, or you go to younger people, having more youth exchanges. I noticed from my son, I mean, he was brought up in Tokyo and he loves being in Japan. He said that I want to go back to Japan for my university because he's seen Japan during his young age. Or we can expand to not just government people, but also private sector, especially key private sector people with a background for strategic industries in which Indonesia believes is important. Maybe those sort of training can also provide it to the private sector, to the state-owned enterprises people, so that way you have more connection at the people-to-people level.
It's very interesting, thank you. You know, we see a lot of the new ideas and initiatives which are very stimulus for all of us who are working in JICA. So thank you very much for these new ideas inside. So someone said that we only have 15 more minutes. I still have 2 more questions, but I think it's just to open discussion to the floor. Otherwise, I will be kicking punch by JICA. So, let me open the floor. Some questions from the audience? I'm sure you are working with different fields, but we are expert here, so any questions are welcome. So I just read the question. Yes. Question to any of them.
Okay. Everyone here. I'm Rasna from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I'm also one of the graduates that Ibu Mita said that I'm also a Japanese university graduate. I'm from Waseda. And also I want to ask, because there's JICA here, I want to ask about what Ibu Rani said about investment and in R&D. How about global brain now? Do you have any plan to, because you said you will go to small startups and then to promote them, do you also have projects in that you are also funding their R&D? Because in small startup they have less people, and then they may not have good management of their capital or their workforce. So do you also give expertise in their R&D, or just you give them some expertise in how to manage them first, and then after they grow to the middle-sized company, and then you give the R&D investment? I think that's for me. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to take a few more questions if there are. Proceeding here. Yes, thank you, please.
Thank you very much. I'm Franciscus from Indonesia Coast Guard. First of all, I would like to congratulations from Japan government, especially for Japan Coast Guard, which last week just held the Coast Guard Global Summit in Tokyo and make a big success for this event. And it was attended by more than 100 Coast Guard delegates, international organizations, and other maritime industries from over the world. And secondly, the Indonesian Coast Guard also very grateful for the support from Japan government, both through from JICA, also from Japan Coast Guard, which provide assistance in the form of grant for 85 meters petrol boat for the Indonesian Coast Guard. And the support has never been done before by another countries besides Japan. So we very happy and very thank you for Japan government. And we really appreciate Japan support and assistance for the progress of Indonesian Coast Guard. And currently, Indonesian Coast Guard has a long-term plan to build a Coast Guard Academy. And we once visited the Japan Coast Guard Academy in Kure, Hiroshima, and we were very impressed with the implementation of education there. And due to the Indonesian Coast Guard Academy will not be realized in the near future, and in line with this symposium with the theme of next generation leaders connecting Indonesia and Japan, my hoping it is possible for Indonesian Coast Guard to send 1 or 2 selected personnel each year to attend this long-term education in Japan Coast Guard Academy. This is like what Indonesian Navy does by sending its personnel to attend education at Japan National Defense Academy at Yokosuka. Thank you very much.
Thank you. No particular questions?
No, everyone can answer. Thank you.
Okay, some more from the floor. Yeah. Okay, it seems someone is asking, maybe Shah. Okay, yeah, at least we have one question, so maybe, yeah, start from Kira-san.
Sorry, could you remind me of the question?
So actually, we are very, so regarding investment sector, we are very sector agnostic, so we can invest in all sectors. So yeah, fintech, agri, anything is okay. But regarding business stage, basically, I am not Indonesian, so basically I do not invest in seed stage startups. So the reason is the startup business is basically local business, basically. So when they are in seed stage, I think they should funded by local investor with local knowledge and network. And after that, when they have some revenue or they have some small business, we can accelerate the growth. So that's our strategy. But of course, just right now we are very small in the global range is very small in Indonesia, this country. But in future, we should be bigger and bigger. And so then we can expand our investment target. But that's our current situation.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like investment in R&D might be is hard at the initial level, but I think like even transfer of knowledge and know-how is beneficial for us, like how to build a system, for example, for fintech to how to build UI UX that is good and enhance consumer experience. Maybe I don't know if you engage on that, but yeah. But after the product is developed and with competition, I think R&D is going to be necessary to survive and to deliver higher quality of goods and services to the consumer. So yeah. So we hope that if there's some help from the, I don't know, not only venture capital, but maybe it needs like different stakeholders to engage in that. Maybe not, so it's not only investment, but maybe we can involve universities there and then government to accelerate it. I think, yeah, maybe it's going to be good.
I see that time is up. I have another question, but better to stop now. If you have individual question to the panelists, we have a lunchtime, so please visit them and ask individually. So it's very difficult to wrap up this kind of session. There is no conclusion at all. But one of the greatest benefits today is that we could share the new ideas and insights of the younger generation, leaders who can be the bridge between Indonesia. So that's very good. Before closing this session, I want you to join me once again to give big hands to all the panelists today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for all the panelists, and we kindly invite our moderator and panelists to take photos together.
Okay.
Our moderator and panelists maybe could together. We kindly request the moderator and panelists to gather in front of the stage so that we can take group picture for the discussion in this second session.
Ini ada orang depan foto tuh. Tuh. Dari bawah. Iya. Bayarannya tinggi tuh.
From Ritsumeikan University as the moderator, and our panelists, Ms. Lintang Paramitasari Wibawa PhD, Dr. Irfan Saleh, Dr. Premi Sastiono, and Mr. Chu Ikeda as the moderator and panelists in this second session of this session. Ladies and gentlemen, this also marks the end of the symposium today. For the closing of the symposium, we kindly invite Mr. Masakazu Takahashi, the President Director of Japan External Trade Organization or JICA Indonesia Office, to deliver his closing remark.
Masih ngejar atau MC? Belum.
Ladies and gentlemen, and esteemed participants,
Oke, cukup.
Takahashi, President Director of JICA Jakarta Office. As a supporting organization of today's event, JICA is very pleased to see the successful conclusion with more than 150 participants today. In addition, I am so proud of myself to be given the opportunity to provide closing remarks at the end of this important event. I would like to express my gratitude to many participants, prominent participants coming from various fields, and I was very excited to hear the active exchange of views and opinions during panel discussion 1 and panel discussion 2. They are very interesting and informative and thoughtful and insightful. Today's discussion was very important and very timely for both of us. JICA is a government-related organization and promotes trade and investment between Indonesia and Japan. We Japanese want to work together and grow together with Indonesian people, and we Japanese business society always discussing that we have to be chosen by Indonesian people as a reliable partner. Finally, I would like to conclude my remarks by expressing my gratitude to JICA as the organizer of today's event, and by expressing my hope that today's event will be the great step toward the further good relationship between Indonesia and Japan. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you for the closing remark from the President Director, JICA Indonesia Office. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our symposium on next generation leaders connecting Indonesia, Japan. On behalf of JICA Indonesia Office, we would like to thank our guests for coming to our symposium. And of course, our moderators and panelists from both sessions. We hope that the exchange views we had today could open more future cooperations between Japan and Indonesia. Thank you and have a nice day.